The Second World War was not just a war of arms, but one of propaganda. This included not just propaganda to each country's own population, but to enemy populations as well. Among the most interesting was a British operation led by Sefton Delmer. Delmer, a British subject born to Australian parents living in Germany, grew up speaking German but became a journalist in England. Throughout the 30s, he covered Hitler's rise and worked for a time as an announcer for the German service of the BBC. Though his loyalties were questioned, in 1940 he was cleared for a war job. Initially, the United Kingdom had German émigrés make anti-Hitler radio broadcasts back to Germany, but Delmer saw this as misguided. Most of the Germans, he thought, supported the war, and would dismiss these broadcasts as obvious propaganda. He argued instead for what he called psychological judo. He created an over-the-top Nazi-supporting radio personality that called himself the Chief. The Chief considered himself a kind of super-patriot and criticized the Nazis on a personal level. The Chief was exactly what listeners would have expected from a die-hard Nazi. He was anti-Jewish, anti-Bolshevik, and openly disdainful of Winston Churchill. But his criticisms were even more pointed. He accused the wives of German officials of hoarding wool, charged that party scum, ignoring doctors, refused to destroy stocks of syphilis-infected blood. Probably the Chief's signature, however, were his extremely explicit tirades about the sexual escapades of traitorous swine who lived the high life while the average German sacrificed. The effort was not without its detractors in England. Stamford Cripps, a member of the War Cabinet, was aghast at the language. "If this is the sort of thing we have to do to win the war, why, I'd rather lose it," he said. Delmer himself was no fan of the language. He jokingly called himself His Majesty's Government's Director of Pornography, but argued that we are, of course, not trying to win Germans to our sides by this method. We are trying to turn Germans against Germans. While it's difficult to measure the impact of propaganda, Delmer's stations were popular, with as many as 41% of German soldiers tuning in.